We spoke in careful whispers, held hands just to let go. The therapist's chair between us became a space to show how hard we tried together to mend what we had known. But something in our bodies remained forever alone. I watched you reach for comfort, I felt the distance there. We gave our gentle efforts, but love can't always repair. After we tried to repair us, I chose to breathe again. The house feels quiet finally, no fighting, no pretend. I learned to hold my own heart, to honor what I feel. After we tried to repair us, I let myself be real. Day and nights and careful gestures, soft words that we rehearsed. Each attempt a fragile bridge between what we had first. Your apologies were earnest, your tears were not in vain. But healing only travels where willing hearts remain. I tried to meet you halfway, I tried to stay and see, but peace was on my side alone, and now it rests in me. After we tried to repair us, I chose to breathe again. The house feels quiet finally, no fighting, no pretend. I learned to hold my own heart, to honor what I feel. After we tried to repair us, I let myself be real. I walk without regret, I leave with calm and grace. Every careful effort now finds its quiet place. After we try to repair us, I step into the light. The past is softly resting, no anger left to fight. I carry all my lessons and every gentle scar. After we tried to repair us, I finally know who we are. You stood beside the counter edge, hands trembling at the sink. The evening light across the tiles made everything feel thin. Your voice arrived uncertain, careful, fragile sound, like something breaking softly before it touched the ground. The room held every sentence, hanging in the air. I watched the floor between us while you waited there. Apologies in the kitchen tonight, falling one by one. Quiet words across the tiles, long after harm was done. Your voice cracked in the silence, your eyes began to shine. Apologies in the kitchen tonight, but the pain was mine. You tried to say the reasons, you tried to say my name. Every phrase arrived half broken, every word the same. The refrigerator humming, the clock upon the wall. Ordinary sounds remained, while something started to fall. You whispered you were sorry, more softly than before. But sorrow cannot travel back through a closed door. Apologies in the kitchen tonight, spilling through the air. You reached across the distance, but I was standing there. Your tears touched the counter, your voice began to bend. Apologies in the kitchen tonight, but where do they end? I wanted to believe you more than I can say, but trust is like a fragile thread that frays in quiet ways. The tiles held every echo. Apologies in the kitchen tonight, lingering after dark. A fragile kind of pleading, trying to relight the spark. Your words filled up the room, but something would not mend. Apologies in the kitchen tonight, still catches evening light. The chair across from mine feels closer than tonight. Our hands once filled this table with stories, laughs, and plans. Now quiet cups between us replace what love once ran. We used to talk for hours without watching the time. Now every careful sentence feels measured in our minds. Back at our old table, where everything began, two people sitting softly, trying hard to understand. The past is in the wood grain, the future hard to see. Back at our old table, wondering who will be. Your fingers trace the coaster like circles might explain. The distance growing slowly between our words and pain. The waiter passes gently like nothing here has changed. But something in our silence feels quietly rearranged. We learn new ways of speaking in rooms with softer chairs, but truth still trembles lightly when love is worn and scared. Back at our old table, where everything began, two people sitting softly, trying hard to understand. The past is in the wood grain, the future hard to see. Back at our old table, wondering who will be. Time moves through the quiet space where promises once stayed. Back at our old table, the night is settling in. Two hearts remembering the place they've always been. The story isn't over, but nothing feels the same. Back at our old table, saying little, feeling pain. The hallway felt too narrow, the voices pressed the air. Your words still echoing in places everywhere. The mirror held my shaking face under buzzing light. A stranger breathing slowly, trying not to fight. Count to 4, then let it go, just like they taught before. But fear keeps standing quietly, behind the bathroom door. Breathing exercises in bathrooms while the world waits outside. Cold tiles under trembling feet, nowhere left to hide. Inhale like the therapist showed me. Exhale what I can't say, holding pieces of my heart that almost slipped away. The faucet runs softly to drown the thoughts inside. A small and careful refuge where broken voices hide. Your footsteps down the hallway pause beside the frame, but neither of us speaking felt easier than pain. Count to 4, then let it go, but tears still interfere. Some battles happen quietly where no one else can hear. Breathing exercises in bathrooms while the world waits outside. Cold tiles under trembling feet, nowhere left to hide. Inhale like the therapist showed me. Exhale what I can't say, holding pieces of my heart that almost slipped away. Slow down, slow breath, let it fall, trying not to break it all. The mirror keeps the secret of the storm behind my eyes. Breathing exercises in bathrooms, counting every breath, trying to hold steady in the quiet edge of stress. Inhale what hope is left now. Exhale what I can't keep, learning how to stand again before I fall too deep. The hallway smelled unfamiliar, saw voices through a door. A quiet waiting room with magazines on the floor. We sat a chair apart, neither looking near. Your hands folded tightly, mine resting here. The door opened slowly, our names spoken low. We stepped into a room where careful words would go. First session on gray chairs today, questions moving slow. Two strangers telling pieces of a life they used to know. Your voice stayed near, a whisper, mine careful not to break. First First session on gray chairs today, for something at stake. The clock ticked on the wall between each measured breath. The counselor asked gently about the day we met. You answered with soft sentences. I nodded to the floor. Memories arranged like glass across a fragile shore. Every word felt heavy, balanced in the air. True, sitting quietly between the chairs. First session on gray chairs today. Silence filled the space. Two people trying slowly to repair what time erased. Your hands moved once toward mine, then rested where they lay. First session on gray chairs today, beginning the long way. Hope stood in the corner, unsure where to begin. Like light through cloudy windows, trying to come in. No answers yet appeared. First session on gray chairs today. The room calm and still. Two voices searching softly for the strength of will. We left with quiet footsteps and promises to try. First session on gray chairs today, under a careful sky. I wrote your name in journals, on pages lined with care. Each sentence weighed with meaning, each line a silent prayer. I cried into the shower, letting water wash my hands. The quiet of the bathroom, trying to understand. Every word I swallowed, every effort spent. Each day a little harder than the one before it went. Forgiveness took energy, more than I could give. A quiet kind of labor, just to try to live. Showed up even broken, even though it hurt. Forgiveness took energy to speak without the dirt. I practiced gentle phrases, held my voice in place, careful not to trigger old wounds that leave no trace. Your apologies were earnest, but trust still felt so thin. The work I did inside me fought battles I could not win. I balanced hope with caution and patience with my pain, learning that forgiveness is not given in vain. Forgiveness took energy, more than I could give, a quiet kind of labor, just to try to live. I showed up even broken, even though it hurt. Forgiveness took energy to speak without the dirt. I felt depleted, some days I nearly fell, but slowly in the silence I found my own farewell. Forgiveness took energy, and I gave what I could, learning to release the weight while still doing what I should. It's quiet, not dramatic, no victory to display. Forgiveness took energy, but I survived the day. Folded shirts and memories into neat and quiet stacks. Each drawer held a story, each corner held the facts. The suitcase lay beside me, half empty, half prepared. I packed the room with caution and breathed the stagnant air. Not in anger, not in haste, not to punish or defend. I packed my heart more carefully than anything I said. I packed my feelings first before the clothes or keys. Every thought in fragile journey to leave behind the rest. I pack my feelings first before the clothes or keys. Every thought and fragile hope folded silently. Not dramatic, not loud, just steady in the night. I packed my feelings first and held them close and tight. There's a peace in preparation, a calm before the step. I pack my heart carefully so I could take the rest. I pack my feelings first before the door was closed. Every fragile part of me that no one ever knows. No shouting, no alarms, just quiet in my hands. I pack my feelings first before I left these lands. The door opened slowly, a suitcase at my side. Air felt wider than before. The weight began to slide. The hallways held their silence. The walls no longer tight. Every careful heartbeat now filled with quiet light. No anger, no regret, no drama in my hands. Just years of quiet choices, now leaving where I stand. Leaving felt like breathing. Finally letting go. A steady kind of freedom that only time can show. I stepped into the sunlight and felt the world expand. Leaving felt like breathing for the first time unplanned. The car waited patient. The road stretched far and wide. No voices pressed beside me. No tension to divide. I held the moment gently. Each breath a small repair. The past lay in the rear view, but I carried only it. Every step was measured, but lightness filled my chest. The quiet of surrender brought solace and a rest. So even felt like breathing. Finally letting go. A steady kind of freedom for the first time unplanned. Without the burden, I laughed without the strain. Every careful holding no longer binds my veins. Leaving felt like breathing, opening arms to sky. We lie side by side in darkness, bodies almost touch. The space between your shoulders feels heavier than much. I trace the curve of silence where words have gone away. The warmth we share is distant, like a night without the day. I reach but feel a boundary, your breath just barely near. A fragile kind of closeness mixed with a quiet fear. Lying close, feeling far, so many inches in between. The shadow of what we were haunts the spaces unseen. Holding hands feels formal, kisses like a chore. Lying close, feeling far, while yearning for before. The ceiling glows softly with a lamp too dim to trust. I count each quiet heartbeat and let go of what I must. Your arm curves just beside me, but it does not hold me in. I remember all the fractures where love used to begin. Every touch feels measured, every glance restrained. The body remembers everything, but the heart feels pain. Lying close, feeling far, so many inches in between. The shadow of what we were haunts the spaces unseen. Holding hands feels formal, kisses like a chore. Lying close, feeling far, while yearning for before. Even here in darkness, where bodies almost meet, the heart keeps counting distance that the mind can't defeat. Lying close, feeling far in the quiet of our bed, trying to bridge a chasm that lives inside my head. The warmth is only surface, the depth has gone away. Lying close, feeling far as night swallows the day. Your jacket on the doorway still smells like winter rain. A simple passing moment, but something shifts again. My shoulders slowly tighten, my breathing turns unsure, as if a quiet memory still lives beneath the floor. My mind says it is over, the past has lost its claim, but something in my heartbeat still whispers your name. My body remembered everything, the nights I tried to hide, the careful words, the fragile air, the storms we kept inside. My hands still learn the distance, my chest still holds the weight. My body remembered everything my mind forgot to say. The songs we used to listen still echo down the hall, and every small reminder feels larger than it was. The quiet in the kitchen, the light across the sink, my body moves around them before I even think. I thought the time would soften the places love had been, but muscle holds the stories where silence once lived in. My body remembered everything, the nights I tried to hide, the careful words, the fragile air, the storms we kept inside. My hands still learn the distance, my chest still holds the weight. My body remembered everything my mind forgot to face lit blue in the quiet dark. The room was breathing slow, your fingers moving across the glass, like somewhere I don't know. You turned the screen away from me, a habit I had missed. The silence sitting in your chest felt heavier than this. I told myself it's nothing new, just night refusing sleep. But secrets glow the brightest when the house is dark and deep. What lives inside the midnight screen you hold so close tonight? Is someone learning pieces of the parts you used to hide? I'm lying inches from your heart, yet miles from what you mean. The quiet grows between us in the glow of midnight screens. You laughed at something softly, but the sound was not for me. A moment shared with someone I could never hope to see. Your shoulders closed like shutters, you're breathing slightly fast, and suddenly the distance felt wider than the past. I tried to rest my thoughts again, pretend the dark was kind, but doubt can read reflections in the corners of your eyes. What lives inside the midnight screen you hold so close tonight? Is someone learning pieces of the parts you used to hide? I'm lying inches from your heart, yet miles from what you mean. The quiet grows between us in the glow of midnight screens. The light fades on your pillow, but the question doesn't sleep. What lives inside the midnight screen that keeps you wide awake? A world I'm slowly losing with each careful move you make. I'm lying inches from your heart, but something slips unseen. Love thinning in the silence of the glowing midnight screen. Your phone lit up beside the sink, a quiet flash of blue. I reached to move it from the edge the way I always do. A line appeared across the screen, a name I didn't know. A sentence open like a door to somewhere I can't go. The room stood still around me, air suddenly too thin. One moment split in two by what was written in. The message I was not meant to see fell heavy in my chest. sentence, undoing all the rest. Nothing loud around me, just silence in the room. The message I was not meant to see changed the afternoon. The sink kept slowly dripping, the clock moved on the wall. Ordinary sounds continued like nothing changed at all. I placed the phone back carefully, exactly where it lay, as if returning it to place could turn the truth away. Footsteps in the hallway, your shadow near the door. I held the quiet tightly like glass across the floor. The message I was not meant to see, still glowing in my mind. A fragile little fracture in everything defined. Your voice spoke from the doorway. I answered like before, but the message I was not meant to see waited at the core. Maybe it meant nothing, maybe it meant more, but once a word is opened, it cannot close the door. The room stayed bright and ordinary. The message I was not meant to see now lives inside the day. A quiet revelation that will not drift away. No thunder in the distance, no shattered glass to be, just the message on your glowing screen. And what it did to me. Your phone lights in the evening, across the quiet room, a small and harmless sound, but something starts to bloom. My chest becomes a hallway where echoes start to run. A simple little message feels heavier than one. Every glowing screen, every distant tone turns the air around me into sharpened stone. Trust fell paper thin tonight, like pages in the rain. set the phone down gently, your voice calm and clear. Nothing in your manner suggests a trace of fear, but memory has gravity. It bends the quiet air. A single past confession, still waiting everywhere. I watch each little movement, each glance across the room. The mind begins to wander toward familiar gloom. Trust fell paper thin again between your hand and mine, a fragile little surface crossed by every sign. I wish belief came easy, like it once began. Trust fell paper thin again across the span. You say the past is over, you say the truth remains, but something in my breathing still trembles in the veins. As the night grows very quiet, trust fell paper thin tonight, but I am trying still to place one careful footstep on this uncertain hill. If patience has a language, perhaps it will begin somewhere past the fracture, where trust grows thick again. Stretches quietly beneath the silver sky. You steer between the painted lines while minutes drift on by. The radio stays silent, fixed on the wheel. each word must balance between what was and was. Weekly drives to healing now through quiet afternoon. Two people tracing circles inside the same old wound. The road knows every silence, the dashboard knows our hands. Weekly drives to healing now, trying to understand. Maybe every mile we travel shifts the weight a bit. Maybe something fragile learns slowly how to sit. The road continues forward. Weekly drives to healing now under changing skies. Two hearts learning patience between apologies. The road runs far before us, the answer's still unseen. Weekly drives to healing now, toward what might still need. You lean forward in the chair, eyes fixed on the floor, searching through your sentences for something more. The room felt carefully arranged, with patience in the air. Every pause between your words hung gently there. I listened past the phrases you tried so hard to shape, hearing all the spaces your voice could not escape. What you couldn't say today stayed quiet in between. Words that nearly formed themselves, but never could be seen. Your voice moved slowly forward, then drifted back again. What you couldn't say today stayed hidden deep within. You spoke about confusion, about mistakes you made, but every explanation arrived already frayed. Your hands describe the story, your eyes eyes remained away. The truth behind the silence refused to fully stay. I felt the fragile distance growing in the air, something standing quietly between the chairs. What you couldn't say today moved softly through the room, like light behind a curtain, afraid to fully bloom. You tried to shape forgiveness, but language fell too thin. What you couldn't say today still echoed deep within. Cannot find their way, even when the heart tries to stay. The quiet said enough. What you couldn't say today now lingers in my mind, a fragile, incomplete truth, neither cruel nor kind. We left the room together, but something stayed behind. What you couldn't say today still circles through my mind. You reached across the table, fingers brushed my own, a careful kind of movement, like something fragile marred. The pressure barely gentle, the touch just held in place, a signal that you're trying without fully closing space. I felt the quiet caution, your warmth kept at a line, as if the past was somewhere between your hand and mine. You held my hand carefully, not too close, not too tight, testing waters slowly in the dim quiet light. I'll let my hand steal in yours, but every pulse felt thin. You held my hand carefully, I'll trust it deep within. We walked along the sidewalk, our fingers lightly brushed, a moment that was gentle, but not enough to trust. I studied every movement, each hesitation there, and of closeness that careful hands fulfill. You held my hand carefully, not too close, not too tight, testing water slowly in dim quiet light. I let my hand stay with yours, but every pulse felt thin. You held my hand carefully, while trust hid deep within. More than a careful gesture between you and me, you held my hand carefully, and I held it back, feeling all the tension and the pieces we both lack. A moment of connection, fragile as the wind. You held my hand carefully while we tried to begin.